Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Tisha here, back for another Big Love Season 3 review. Go ahead and do me a favor and hit the like button as we jump into this. I'm hoping that my Wi Fi doesn't act up. If it does, I apologize in advance. I'm trying to figure out what's going on, but from what I've looked at, it's not the Wi Fi, it's actually StreamYard. Something's happening sometimes in videos where the audio gets distorted. So hopefully it doesn't happen this video. There's also a lot of commotion because it is snowing outside. So just the other day, it was 65 degrees. And now, according to my watch, there is at least 3 inches of snow on the ground and it is 27 degrees. So we've had a quick shift. But I want to make sure I get this out because you will be seeing this, I believe, on Friday. And I don't know what the situation is going to be like. So I just want to make sure that I have this out there for you guys. Go ahead and do me a favor and hit the like button as we jump into it. So we begin the episode with Margie in all of her blondness, standing at the front of the bus in front of Don, Bill, and Jerry. She is dressed like an old school flight attendant of some sort as she demonstrates what casino attendees will experience on their way to the casino. Redline, I'm assuming that it's a transportation company, has agreed to have a contract with them to shuttle patrons to their establishment. So this is exciting. And Jerry, as you can see, is just eating it up. He is loving the fact that they are thinking about all of these things. He is impressed. All they're waiting on now is for Don to get the approval from the bank loan. Of course, they act like it's a shoe-in. They speak on it like they know for a fact that they're going to have this thing because Bill, as usual, likes to oversell. He is basically guaranteeing approval because he feels like he knows everything. He says, look, Jerry, once we have approval, we're going to meet with the Federal Tribal Gaming Commission and we should be good. But as usual, Bill has spoken too soon because we later see Bill and Don take a meeting with someone from the bank. According to this person at the bank, he says that they have a responsibility to their community. They are aware that people in their community gamble, but approving this thing takes it to another level. They don't want the weakness of their community to be exploited. In my opinion, it's just a bunch of hypocrites. It's a bunch of hypocrites casting judgment on people for what they believe is their sin, for what they believe is things that other people do wrong. Yet they don't mind doing things wrong as long as those things that they do wrong is in the dark. See, this situation with what Bill and Don and Jerry are trying to do will put it to the light. So he says their proposal is solid. They have good credit, but it's denied. The look on Bill's face says it all. He cannot believe that this whole thing is denied. So we move on to the Henriksons, right? The Henriksons are on a bowling date with Anna. She, at this point, still has not said yes to Bill's proposal. Now, I'm not sure what the timeline is on this because everything else seems to be moving quickly, but I guess she took her time on this in deciding what it is that she was going to do. So you got Nikki who is talking to Barb, and Nikki is complaining. She feels like they, as a family, are a catch. So Barb is like, just give her time to decide. Give her time to decide what it is that she wants to do. Well, guess what? They don't have to wait long because as they are bowling, Margine is running and squealing in glee. I mean, she is squealing. She's like, Anna said yes. Anna said yes. For the most part, they're all excited, but it becomes clear very quickly that there's a lot that they don't know. There's a lot that Anna doesn't know. There's a lot of instances where you see Anna being surprised at the way that they're handling this. Because if any of us were getting engaged, I think we would expect more fanfare, more celebration, more let's enjoy this experience before we lock in a date right then and there and say something like, let's do it tonight. So she's thinking she has all this time to plan, right? She's thinking that she has time to plan this wedding when Bill's like, when we could do it tonight. You can tell she's surprised. Like she wasn't expecting that. She thought she was gonna have time. And Barbara's over there like, yeah, we can't do it tonight because, Sarah has to work. What about let's do it this afternoon? It's very odd. I also wonder what time were y'all bowling? Bowling alleys open up that early? That you're saying no, let's do it instead of tonight, let's do it this afternoon. Like what is the turnaround here? So they decide they're gonna do it in the afternoon because Sarah has to work later, right? So it's later that afternoon. We get to witness them get married, right? We are in the backyard and they are there to get married by this officiant. Not sure who this officiant is, but he's there to marry them. They are surrounded by their children who don't really seem to be interested. Like Sarah, you see Sarah, she's off in the background holding the baby, wearing her uniform, looking like this is the last place because she wants to be. You have Don and he's standing there smiling, and you got Ben playing a wedding song on the guitar. So they do their whole little thing. This image right here is when Margine does what we've heard about so many times in the various books, which is where she places Anna's hand into her husband's hand. And surprisingly, all of the ladies seem okay with this. The only one who doesn't seem that excited about it is Nikki, but I don't think it's because of a jealousy thing. I think that Nikki is concerned about the spiritual aspect when it comes to Anna. So the words are said, they kiss, they are officially married. After they kiss, like right after they kiss, Bill announces that he has to leave because he has a meeting to go to. You just got married to me. And because you penciled me in so you could say that this is done, now that you have been sealed or I've been sealed to you all, now you're ready to go to a meeting. You're not even going to sit around here with me and enjoy this moment with me and your other wives. You're acting like this is just a regular thing. Like this is something that, we do all the time. They love to talk about how important these unions are, yet something to me, it sometimes it doesn't seem like it's handled right. It doesn't get handled like it's really that important. So as Bill leaves, the ladies begin discussing things and they are shocked to find out that Anna is going to be staying at Barb's house until they can figure out something else. You see Margine, she's smiling, but it's kind of like that fake, like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. We're going to be doing that. Margie, of course, wants her to be with her, while Nikki feels like she should stay in her own apartment. It's clear that they don't take the necessary steps to make sure that these things are taken care of prior to getting married. I would think that given that Bill has done this 3 other times, that he would have figured out some of these things before he decided to even propose to this lady. But much like what we see in the books, that's not what's done. They just up and decide they want to marry somebody, and then they impose upon whatever wife that they feel like imposing upon to have this new wife come into the place. So Barb tells the wives, look, it's Bill's decision, and she walks away. As Margine whispers to Nikki, shouldn't we have talked about this? Sarah overhears it, and Sarah's like, welcome to my world. Because they have a tendency to sit here and have all these requirements and do all these things. And as I've said before, they often don't consider their kids, right? It's sprung on her, so enjoy having this sprung on you. Sarah obviously isn't happy about it because it's another body in her house, and she already doesn't agree with the fact that her mother has okayed there being a fourth wife. Because, as I said in other episodes, it's just not what Sarah wants. Even though this is what they want, they don't care about the kids' feelings. So we move on to this whole meeting situation, right? With Ted and this guy that's supposed to help. Bill goes to Ted's office for a meeting with this man that has some pull when it comes to anti-gaming regulations. He's asking him if what he could do is kind of slow down the bills so that the bills are buried. The guy agrees to work on it. After the man leaves, Ted lets Bill know, look, I did a favor for you. Kind of need a favor from you for me. He's like, someone that I know is in the process of buying a historical document from Albee. He doesn't say Albee at first, but it's Albee that he's talking about. It implicates Salt Lake City in the Mountain Meadows massacre. I didn't even look that up to see if it's a real thing. I probably should have. If it is, let me know. After Albee dropped the document off to the authenticators, he said that he's become a little hesitant. So Ted wants Bill to get him to sell it. He wants him to work with Albee. He wants him to work with the Grants. Now, Bill, of course, doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to work with the Grants, but Bill needs something to be done. So they're both looking out for each other in various ways, not thinking about what it may do to each other or to the people who are attached to them. So Ted lets him know, you're going to do this or I'm not going to be able to help you. It's kind of like he gives him an ultimatum, and you can tell that Bill doesn't really care for it. Bill and Anna are in the backyard and they're looking at stars and they're making out. I guess this is how they're spending their honeymoon. I'm not quite sure. He wants to know, like, what made her finally say yes. And she tells him that what really made her say yes was the family. Oh, who did that sound like? Oh, little birdie, huh? The little birdie is here too. That's kind of messed up to say, but I'm just saying it's giving little birdie action to me. She tells him that she loves the way the family loves each other and how generous they are with one another. And in seeing it, she just felt like she wanted to be a part of it, which makes complete sense, especially since I don't think that she has a lot of family there because we know she's not from the area. So she probably wanted to be connected to someone. And I don't think she realized what she was really getting herself into. So it's the next day and the ladies are meeting for the first time as four wives. Anna is sitting in Nikki's chair. Nikki and Margene come over to Barb's for their first meeting. With her sitting in this chair, Nikki doesn't even want to sit down until she moves out of her chair. But Anna, being Anna, doesn't want to move. So Barbara's trying to tell Nikki, like, it's not that big of a deal. It's only a chair. And Nikki's like, okay, well, if it's only a chair, why don't you give her your chair? Why don't you let her sit in your chair? So Barb moves to a different seat, you guys, but you could tell she didn't really want to do it. So Anna goes to Barb's seat. As the meeting starts, they are talking about all these things. You see the various women pulling out their calendars while Anna is just sitting there because once again, she's just finding this out. These are all discussions, in my opinion, that you should be having prior to even proposing to someone. Couples therapy, counseling, whatever, sit down and working out finances and logistics and all those other things should be discussed way before you get married to someone, whether you're a polygamist or a monogamist. And they clearly didn't have those key conversations. Bill can talk about a testimony all he wants to. He still wasn't even honest to his wives about sleeping with the girl before they were sealed. Either way, there's a lot to this situation that she just doesn't get. So she's listening to this thing and listening to that thing, and she's realizing that they have a lot of rules. So at some point, Margine pulls out, some cake to celebrate. And Nikki's like, I mean, we ain't never do this before. Since when did we start doing this at meetings? And she's like, I just wanted to celebrate the fact that, we have Anna, because Margine is very excited. So at some point, her and Anna go into the kitchen, and she's like, Margie, I didn't realize that, we were going to have all these rules, and that, Margie and not Margie, that Nikki and Barb are kind of like acting like this is an army. So Margie's like, just play along. And then she wants to know, while they're there, she's like, while we're here, do you really actually want to live with Barb? Because I thought you would want to live with me, and I kind of want you to live with me. And I don't know. Anna really wants to be where Anna wants to be, which is kind of where the action is. But it doesn't seem to me like anyone is listening to her, because she ends up telling her she would rather stay with Barb. She doesn't want to hurt her feelings, yet we still see Margine try to influence things and to change things so that she could end up having Anna stay at her house. So we later see Barb and Anna after the meeting, and they're at her house and they're talking about things that they can do. And Barb seems to be really excited about what could be. We find out that there's a lot of things that she hasn't done, like she wants to take a cruise. And Anna, talks about, maybe we could do it together. And you can hear the excitement in Barb at the fact that she could do something like this with her. We find out later that one of the reasons why Barb is so happy to have her there is because this is the first time she feels like she actually has a friend in this situation, which goes back to the fact that a lot of these women are sister wives, but they are not friends. In the readings that we've done and the shows that we've watched, like Sister Wives, these women sometimes very rarely have interactions. They go months at a time without seeing one another. So they aren't friends. They are literally sister wives. And I'm not saying that you can't have friends that you don't see. It's just that they don't cultivate things in order to create that dynamic, which is why the fact that Christine and Janelle in Sister Wives have now been able to create a friendship, it's rare, and it's looked at like there's something to it, or like the bald eagle feels like they're conspiring against him, when really what it is these two women who've survived Cody. To me, listening to Barb and seeing how excited she is to have Anna there, she's giving very much so this is Mary and the bird situation. She's like, look, I love Nikki and I love Margine, but they're just my sister wives. They aren't my friends. And Anna tells her, Margine wants me to move into her house. And Barb's like, okay, well, what do you want to do? Because they like to pull this woman in every direction. And Anna's like, well, most of the things go on at your house, right? And she's like, yeah. She's like, well, I want to be where most of the family activity is, so I don't miss out on anything. So I want to stay with you, Barb, which really excites Barb. But it's not about you, Barb. It's about what your house brings. So she's like, I want to let Margie know. But Barb tells her, no, you don't have to let her know. The way that we do things around here is we let Bill handle it. That wouldn't work for me, because you pick and choose when you want Bill to handle it. Because in that moment, you say you want Bill to handle it, but then later on, after Bill handles it, you tell him that he should have left it between the women. So it only seems like you want Bill to handle it when it's convenient for you, Barb. Bill returns home, and Margie immediately tells him that Anna wants to live with her. And he's like, well, did she say that? She's like, she doesn't want to hurt Barb's feelings. The same exact thing that's been said earlier. And, ooh, I done scrolled off of the thing. Y'all. Don't mind me. I lost my spot in my notes. It wouldn't be me if I didn't do this. Hold on. I would not be me if I did not do this. I don't edit. Better if she can help the kid. Oh, she feels like it will be better if Anna is with her, because then Anna can, help out with the children. And Bill's like, look, I'm not turning this into that type of situation. She's not here to be like your nursemaid. I want her to be comfortable. And he lets her know that he's going to think about it. He'll decide what he's going to do in terms of Anna. So later, Bill does make a decision and he meets with all of the wives, explaining that this is a perfect way to show Anna how they deal with issues. So that this is a perfect time to discuss, where Anna will live. It's a bunch of back and forth, you guys. He's talking about how her physical, emotional, and intellectual as well as spiritual development are his responsibilities. What? Say what? What? Who are you talking about? She's not a child. She's an adult. Anything that goes on as far as her intellectual or her emotional or her spirit, that is something between her and God, if that's who she believes in. That's not for you to determine. I just hate the fact that these men really feel like they're supposed to control these women's minds and mold them into what it is that they want them to be. So they're having this whole conversation as Anna sits there on the couch like she doesn't have a say and like the lady isn't sitting right there on the couch with them. Bill announces that he's decided that Anna will live with Nikki. Do y'all see this facial expression? Anna was not pleased about this because she doesn't want to live with Nikki. Nikki has been rude and crude to her. She has this facial expression. He's like, yes, y'all should live with each other because you hardly know each other. Meanwhile, you got Nikki who feels like she's being punished. No one is happy about this, including the wives. Does it look to you like these are ladies who actually want to live with each other? These ladies don't even like each other because they don't know each other. But once again, this is what happens. So Anna's like, okay, can we just have a vote? Like, can we vote about this situation? And Bill's like, no, honey, I've made my decision. He wants them to try this arrangement at first. And if need be, they can reevaluate it at a later date. I wouldn't be able to be in this type of relationship. I'm all for the man taking on certain roles as far as I'm concerned, but I just don't like the way that this was done. It's like he doesn't even really hear them out because he's already determined what it is that he's going to do. So the ladies, well, not Nikki because Nikki's just standing there. Margene and Barb help Anna bring her things over to Nikki's home. And Nikki is rude. She's fussing because she thought she was going to be there earlier. And she's expecting, Anna is, to be able to go in the spare room that Barb told her that Nikki has. But Nikki tells her that she no longer has a spare room because her crafts are in there. Like Nikki couldn't have moved her crafts out of there, but Nikki didn't really want her there. She tells Anna, you can stay in my nook. Y'all, she's talking about this area in her living room. She then gives her one drawer in her living room, and it's a small drawer at that. So Nikki, in my mind, will always remind me of why I often find myself being annoyed by her because she does things like this and things like what she does later in the episode. So you got Barb and Margene, fussing about this decision still. You got Bill saying that Anna can handle herself, and you got Nikki coming out there to complain about the whole situation. Nikki is out there telling them that she doesn't like this, and they're sitting there telling Bill, like, she is a lot to deal with, and Margene is like, you don't want her to treat her the way that she treated me. And Nikki is standing there like, oh, y'all are talking about me. And Barbara's like, yeah, you have a tendency to be a bit, and Margene finishes it, abrasive. And she is, but nobody seems to correct her I don't want to act like she's a child, but sometimes you got to teach people how to talk to you. You're not going to talk to me any kind of way. And it often seems like what happens in these situations is that these people talk to each other any kind of way, like it's okay, even when it's not. So Nikki is calling Anna very pushy and saying, "Did you even hear how she talked in my house?" and all these other things, when Nikki herself is pushy. So Bill reminds them, look, she's now sealed to the family. They use these words like sealed to make it sound like it's something important. Yet, as I said earlier, the way that they threw that ceremony together makes me feel like it's just a formality in a lot of cases, and I don't like it. All of this is going on, and Anna is watching them. So he goes back in the house, and Anna lets him know that this isn't going to work for her, that she wants her own house. I started laughing because I'm not a member of this family, and I understand that Bill cannot afford to buy her own house. In my opinion, he kind of lies and tells her that, the moment something comes open on the street, that I'll make sure that that happens. When something comes open on this block, I'll make sure that that happens. But she needs to understand that it's up to him on when will be the right time to buy a house. Because at the end of the day, as the priesthood holder, he gets to make all the decisions. So she's like, I got savings, Bill, I can help. And he says, well, we're supposed to pull our money together. She says, even tips? Bill says, yeah. She says, no. I said, Bill, why did you go ahead and say that? See, this, to my Sister Wives crew, this is what the OG3 should have done when they decided that they were going to add the burden to the family. They should have stopped pooling money then, because it wasn't being done fairly. Matter of fact, it wasn't being done fairly before that. But this is the way that Anna showed up in this thing and was like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. That's what they should have said. They should have said no. She refuses, and she demands her own house on or off the block. She storms off and she slams the door. And I said, okay, Anna, you're my type of girl, because pooling money together, having a family account when the other wives aren't doing the same level of work, when you're expected to get off and take care of the kids or do whatever it is that they decide to do in this dynamic, doesn't seem fair to me. And it should have been told to her prior to her getting married, right? My opinion, tell me yours. So we go over to Sarah, Hunter, Ben, and Frankie. They are watching a movie. Heather is freaking out about the subject matter. I'm sure it's a common movie. I don't recognize the movie. Ben lets them know that him and Frankie are going to make a trip to the compound, and they want to know if the girls want to come. Heather thinks it's dangerous and that her parents won't let her come and that they're going to have a fit, while Frankie tries to make it sound like it's cool because of all the cameras and everything that will probably be out there given what's been going on. Sarah, at this point, doesn't care what her parents think about her going on the trip, because they don't care about what she thinks, especially with them adding a fourth wife to the family. So they decide that they're all going to go. So it's the next day, and they are all joined by one of the girls from Juniper Creek, as well as, I think her name is Donna, from the diner. So the girl from Juniper Creek is the same girl that called Sarah wicked. So Sarah wants to know, why did you call me that? And she very matter-of-factly says, because that's what you are. But it's not your fault. The world is a wicked place. I think if, you don't believe in Roman, how can you resist in the world's temptations? And I said, wow, this is sad, because it really just goes to show you how deeply ingrained this belief system is in these kids. Like, they start out at such a young age, and they don't allow them to have knowledge of anything else but this. And as a result of that, they really, really believe that this stuff is true, even though Roman really isn't a prophet, even though he stole it, even though he unalived people in order to get to this position, even though he's done corrupt things. Here you have this young lady who's believing and trusting in the things that he says. I hate it for them. I really do. I feel like it just shows, how rough it is for these kids, and how here she is. She looks like she's an older girl, maybe, I don't know, maybe like 16 or something, and she doesn't get it. So they're at Juniper Creek. Sarah is trying to figure out what she's going to do about her baby. She admits that she's at the compound because she thought it would make her feel better, because at the compound, their situation seems worse than hers. Heather says, I want to know, without you thinking about it, what exactly do you want to do with the baby? And she blurts out, keep it. And you can tell she's surprised by this. One of the things that I did like was their conversation, because you can tell that even though Heather has a lot of opinions, she's trying to just support her friend at this point. So Frankie then reveals that he wants to go see his mom. This is when he learns from another guy that lives on the compound, I believe, that his mom isn't there. Frank, he says, sent her away for whacking him with the shovel. This is Frankie's face. The expression on his face breaks my heart, because these women are treated like nothing. She is a grown woman who cannot even make her own decision, which is to stay there, because in their world, that's not allowed. In their world, they have to obey the man. Frankie ends up running off. Ben goes after him, telling the girls to stay, where they are, because they're really not supposed to be there, because there's patrols and all those other things currently on the compound. So Bill calls Joey. Kathy answers the phone, and he's like, how are you doing? And she's like, a guilty man walk free. That's how I'm doing. In other words, how can you ask me that crazy question? That's the part that bothers me, because this happens so often in this community. We've even seen it reading the books that I'm reading, that men assault these girls, commit all types of vile acts to them and others. They come back and they do it over again. Even if they're kicked out of the community, it's for a short time, and they're given access back to the same people who they did things to prior. It's not right. And in this case, it went as far as to being outside of Juniper Creek and them going to the actual law enforcement, and it got dropped because Roman Grant was able to infiltrate things and have his wife and his daughters do his bidding. So Bill tells Joey that Lois is at one of Don's apartments, while Joey explains that Albie has this, enforcement crew, and there's a new security force. And Joey's like, why did you let Nikki go to Roman's hotel to talk to Roman? And Bill, as always, has no idea about it. We find out that Roman has basically summoned all the people that he feels went against him to his hotel. So, amongst others, you see Laura, Albert, and Nikki. Roman threatens to reveal how Albert and his wife treated him. Albie hears this, and Albie threatens to share how his mother tried to have him killed. And she's over there smiling like, okay, you can tell that if you want to. Her response is, well, what if those same people knew where, that incident that I know nothing about took place? And then she says, tap, tap, tap. Talking about those breaks again. I can't remember your name once again, and I meant to go look it up, but you were so right about your comment explaining that the breaks was a way back in the day where people would hook up with each other, and here you are, and she was able to infiltrate and try to get him hurt. And I said, okay. So it was definitely her that tried to unalive him, and she's sitting there smiling. She set him up because she knows at his core that he seems to be attracted to males. Now, I don't know what extent, if it's just that or if he's bisexual or what, but hearing this and knowing that at one point he was trying to unalive his father, she was trying to unalive her son, it just shows you how dangerous these people are and how low they're willing to go. So Roman then looks at Nikki and thanks her for her help with the trial. He then says, it would be, unfortunate of me, basically, if I had to tell your husband about your assistance, just so he can know about how, how dutiful the wife that, he's married is. because he knows if he tells Bill this, that it will cause issues for her because she wasn't supposed to be helping. Roman tells them all the past transgressions can be forgiven if all the sinners fall in line. I hear him say this, you guys, and I cannot believe that at one point I felt sorry for this man. I cannot believe when they were trying to get rid of him, when Laura was drugging him up and stuff like that, that I felt bad and I wanted Albie to get caught because he's vile. And listening to what he did to Kathy and seeing how he came out all dramatically and broke the chains because he just knew he was going to be free, it just irritates me because he continues to time and time again get away with things and nobody holds him accountable. So while all of this is going on, they end up breaking up. They're outside having a prayer circle, and Bill done shown up. Bill is watching them as they pray, and he shows up at the hotel looking for Nikki because the brother done said she's there. He sees that she's with her family. He pulls her to the side and he says, I'm trying to figure out what the H you're doing here, Nikki. Y'all, don't y'all find it funny? Isn't it ironic that they do all this jacked up stuff, that they lie, that they cheat on wives, and they do all this other stuff. They're corrupt in so many ways. But here he is, and he can't say hell. He has to say what the H. I was like, this is just weird. So Nikki claims, oh, I did it again. Why do I keep pressing? Y'all give me a second. I done clicked off my notes again because apparently I just want to jack things up today. Nikki claims that she's trying to protect the family by figuring out what's going on. She lets him know that her father at this time has more important things to worry about than them. And he tells her to go home, Nikki. And then he tells Albie that he knows what he's up to. He knows about the documents that he's supposed to be handing over. And Albie's like, yeah, I admit that I've been, collecting from the faithful and selling certain things to replenish the compound's funds because the funds are low. I wonder what's going on that they haven't been able to collect it in the way that they have before. Did that $60,000 that Nikki took really mess them up? So he's like, I didn't sell the documents because I didn't like the buyer's attitude. So Bill tells him, I'm going to help you out with the deal. And I think we should include a penalty for disrespect. He's sitting there acting like he's trying to help him for real. But everything that Bill does is for himself in some way. So we know that the trial is over. Nikki no longer needs to work in this office. I personally think she should stay there, but whatever. She's at work packing up her desk when Ray approaches her and she's like, I'm having problems with my family, so I'm giving my notice. So he's smiling at her and telling her that he doesn't want her to leave. And as he walks off, you see Nikki, and in my opinion, Nikki is blushing. This is going to sound awful. It's going to sound awful. I know it's going to sound awful. But I want Nikki to cheat on Bill. I hope Nikki cheats on Bill. I hope Nikki leaves Bill. I hope Nikki leaves Bill in the manner that Don's wives left him, except for not for a woman, for a man. I hope that Bill gets a taste of his own medicine. Matter of fact, I hope that Nikki gets herself a pair of brother husbands. I mean, he could do it. Why can't she? Why can't she enjoy and do stuff that she wants to do when he can do whatever he wants to do? I'm just saying. I know it's not right, but I'm just saying. All right. So while Frank and the boys are on the way to, I think, his mom's house, Heather and Sarah are talking about their future. Heather offers to apply at ASU so she could help Sarah with the baby. And she gets really excited, as does Sarah, because she's like, we could be, the two of us can raise the baby together. And as I'm hearing this, it's clear that Heather really cares about Sarah. I hope that Sarah does not hurt her when it comes to all of this, because it's very clear that Sarah feels she cares about Heather as well, but it's platonic, where I think that Heather's trying to figure out her feelings. So Donna, who works with them, overhears their conversation and is like, "Oh my God, you're pregnant?" Letting everyone know. She tells her, don't rush to any decision, and then she offers to provide her information to a good clinic should she need it. Just goes to show you that maybe Donna may have had her own experience, because it's interesting that that's the first thing that she suggested. So there's not even a chance for a response, because the sirens go off. Albie's squad spots them. They may be armed with guns because Heather thinks she sees guns. The teens scatter. We then see Frankie pounding on the door looking for his mom. Y'all. Let's go ahead and add this to the stage. I want you all to see this clip. I'm probably going to pause it in between, because you can tell that this has really hurt this young man. And I feel like it's something that we should discuss. All right, let's go.
Your father know you're here?
What happened to my mom?
All right, come in, hurry now. Well, you too? What are you, slow boy? She's in Nicaragua, an encampment in the mountains.
Is there a number I can call?
Only Frank knows where she's staying.
So we'll wait and ask him. You don't understand. He's my grandfather. If we talk to him respectfully...
You should leave. Right now, out the back door.
Oh, isn't this a pairing? Curly and the sex maniac. Thick as...
I cannot stand Frank, but one thing about Frank is, even though he's really nasty and even though he's really mean, he has this way of saying things that make you cringe but make you laugh at the same time. You're calling your son a sex maniac for being attracted, or for talking to, or for maybe catching him kissing a girl. Meanwhile, you're over here getting young women bragging about how they lay down and they sit and they do the things that you want them to do. But he's the one who's being called a maniac.
Thieves.
Where'd you send my mother?
Careful. You're putting your head in the lion's mouth. Good night, Ace.
He just wants to make sure his mom's okay. I told him, I said it would be okay.
Did you now?
Where is she?
I actually have a more interesting question for you, Curly. Where's your granny at? You know, don't you?
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
And about Frankie's mother? Only a coward. Only a truly evil person would keep a mother and her son apart.
I agree. Only cowards, which is what this community is full of. It's a bunch of men that are cowards that sit here and torture these women by doing whatever it is that they want to do, including separating them from their children. So a lot of them are afraid to leave for this very reason, because they can't take their kids with them, because they're scared to, because they're in fear, because they don't know what really is out there for them, or they don't have the skills that they may need to survive, which scares them.
Oh, look who's finally got some spunk. Lo and behold, maybe some of my blood does run through your veins. That's how it goes sometimes. Skips a generation.
Tell me where she is.
You know what? I might have told you. Because I'm a compassionate man. But Curly here is refusing to budge. So I'm refusing to budge. You son.
That scared him. That caught Frank off guard. That scared him. This is a young man. He's not a grown adult. And did you see how he hit him? Now, Frank's gonna talk his junk, but that got him.
have just lost any chance you ever had of me ever telling you where your useless mother is. Get out! You're beyond redemption.
I felt bad for him in this moment because it's clear that this isn't what he wanted. He did not want that to happen. He didn't want it to be a thing where he did that. He was just so desperate to find out that information. These children and their love for their mother, in spite of all that they've been through, speaks to what's a dire situation in a lot of their homes. It's just sad when you think about it. It really, really is. So we're back at the Henriksen home now, where Margie feels like she came up with a great idea. This is when she wants Barb to know that she wants to give her a house to Anna and she wants to move in with Barb. Barb, of course, hates the idea because she has no desire to have this girl stay with them. I personally don't blame her. I feel like I wouldn't want her to be with me either. But I kind of felt bad for Margie in this moment because it is a lot. And so are her little kids, but you could just tell that she just wants to be around Barb. Back at Juniper Creek, the girls get lost. They are freaking out because they think that they're being followed when Sarah pulls out a stick, and the same young lady who called her a whore earlier notices that Sarah lowers the stick towards like her stomach to kind of like protect her baby, and she leads them back to the car. She's actually kind of nice to them. Nikki gets a message from Ray. In the message, he says, he's not calling as her boss. He's calling as someone who likes her and considers her a friend that also wants her to come back to work. This, to me, is technically highly inappropriate, but I'm not mad at you, Ray. I'm not mad at you for doing this. Shoot your shot, Ray. Shoot your shot. He admits that he's missing her. I want Nikki to go back to work. So Nikki, as you can see, is blushing, and she hangs up the phone. She seems flustered, so flustered that Anna comes in and asks her if she wants to go bowling because Frank said they needed a bond, and they do. They go bowling, and Nikki is drinking, and Nikki is bowling, and she actually is being cool with Anna. I didn't even know that the lady drank. Nikki says that she drinks here and there, but never when she's pregnant. She tells Anna, you're not allowed to drink, not even a drop when you're pregnant. Anna, of course, says no. They make a toast to motherhood because we know that Nikki needs this lady to have babies so she doesn't have to, right? She tells Anna that, the bond between a sister wife, it runs deep. Me and Barb, we're like this, we're the closest. And Anna doesn't really believe that to be true. She tells her that she's surprised to hear that, because Barb seems so lonely, especially because Barb seems to want to do a lot of stuff with her. With Nikki, I don't know if she's hurt by this or if she's bothered by this because she always wants to feel like she has the closest relationship with both wives. You all tell me what you think. So because Nikki is Nikki, she goes back to the house and she causes havoc. She calls Ray first, tells him she's decided to come back to work, and then she tells Margie some things, but we'll get to it. Frankie ends up coming back to the house. He wakes up Ben while he's sleeping on the couch and he tells him he's leaving. Jodine gave him a lady's number that may know where her mother is at. So he's heading to Nicaragua. I don't know how he's going to get there, but he's going to get there. Ben's like, talk to my dad first. And he's like, no. He's like, look, did you think I was going to move in? Did you think we would be brothers or that you would save me? There's no hope for me here. I wonder why he feels that way. I wonder if he feels like it's because of all of the things he hasn't experienced, or if it's because he doesn't have, a certain level of education. I don't know why he said that, but he said it. Or is it because maybe he's still staying in that house where he was doing nothing? I'm not sure. He thanks Ben for everything. And he's like, including prom, that was a really good night. So the fact that he got sick and all those other things happened, that was one of the better nights for him. Is sad. He's like, please, don't tell Bill and don't tell Sarah. It's another day. Barb gets a call from one of her friends letting her know that the anti-gaming bills are out of committee and they're very much so alive, which means Ted Lai, the guy that plays Ted, in my opinion, is very good at making you dislike him because I've seen him in other things and I didn't really care for him. We see Bill confront Ted about the anti-gaming bill. Ted tries to tell him that they're still, it's still inside, but Bill's like, no, I've heard otherwise. He's like, Albie is in the car with the documents. Y'all really think he was in there? And unless the bills are sunk, the price of the documents have gone up. He claims that, you're not going to get them unless you call that bank and you get my loan approved. So we see Ted go to reach for the phone because he's like, you need to do it now. This, to me, is not going to be a great move like Bill thinks. Bill very much so loves to feel like he's got the upper hand. Look at him all smug here like he's done something. Meanwhile, this is more than likely gonna backfire. Give me one moment. All right. I want to show this video to you guys. Nikki enters the house and sees a jealous Margie watching Anna and watching Bill, not Bill because Bill's not there, watching Anna and watching Margie. Lord, am I going to get these words out? And they're right on the screen. Watching Anna and watching Barb. As they do these flower pots for this reception that they're supposed to be having in celebration of her new marriage and her being in the family. And they're having a good time. Nikki then works to cause division yet again. She says Barb is fickle. She tells her that, you're slipping out of Barb's control and that's why they seem so close. That's probably why Barb hates your hair. She then says Anna said that she likes white flowers and Barb went against the vote and gave her those flowers instead. Next thing you know, Margene and Nikki are tearing up the flowers, and the way that they did this, I would have went off on them. So I'm going to show y'all, and hopefully y'all can hear it. I recorded it on my phone. Sorry, y'all. I tried to do it through my laptop, but of course the screen was black, so it wasn't, doing anything, but hopefully it's nice and loud and you can hear it.
Margene! Nikki, what the heck are you two doing? I'm getting ready for Anna's reception. I am trying to preserve this marriage. Have you both lost your minds? Stop that! White's Anna's favorite color, but you planted magenta. When you knew she wanted white. I knew of no such thing. Oh, that's right, Margie. We forgot we're dealing with St. Barb. Never an evil thought in her mind. All right, just stop that. Please, put that back. Nikki, quit now! Don't pretend you're blind to what's happening here, you womanizer.
I know you've been going through a difficult time with your mother's passing. This has nothing to do with that.
You get to do whatever you want in this family. The Marge and I, we're second-class citizens.
Can y'all believe that? Can you guys believe that they're sitting there literally ripping stuff out of the garden, ripping stuff out of the ground because of what Nikki said to Margene? I don't know what about it ticked me off. I don't know if it's because this is how easily families are split up because of the telephone or the he said, she said. But there's something about the way that Nikki goes around and causes this division and how easily Margene falls for it that I often find myself extremely annoyed with her because there's no point in it. Because you feel insecure with your decision. You're causing all this unnecessary commotion. So Nikki's like, you're fawning over her, Barb. And Margie's like, admit it, Barb. Admit that you didn't want Anna for Bill or for the family. Instead, you want her for yourself. And she admits it. She says, I do want her, but I want her to be my friend. She makes me feel normal. And that choosing this life wasn't a mistake. That speaks volumes. that because of this woman, you feel like choosing this life wasn't a mistake, because it means that you often question the choice that you made in deciding to agree to allow Bill to have these other women be a part of this family, because you might not have chosen them, whereas you've grown to actually seem to like Anna because she makes you feel like you're not just a sister wife. So Anna is watching all this as it goes down, and she's feeling like the very thing that she told Bill from the very beginning that she didn't want to happen is happening before her eyes, which is that the family is falling apart. Bill, who's overheard all of this, response to this to her is that they can go on a honeymoon to get away from the fighting. So he's going to pull a Cody and not deal with the issues at hand. Instead, what he's going to do is he's going to try to brush it off. By this time, the ladies come inside. They come inside and they're standing there. And Anna talks about how she feels like she's breaking this perfect union, how she feels like she doesn't want to do that. She's like, I if I stay, what I love about you guys will go away. She takes off her ring, she puts it on the counter, and she says, I want a divorce. The look on his face says it all. He wasn't expecting it. Bill says, I don't understand. I thought this was meant to be. What about it made you think that it was meant to be when you went about this the way that you went about this? You started off wrong from the very beginning, in my opinion, by sneaking to see her. Then you added insult to injury when you decided to sleep with her, and you still haven't told your wives that you slept with her prior to. What? How long has she been in this family? All of what, a couple of days, maybe a couple weeks, and it's already over? I guess the Henriksons aren't as great as they thought they were. You guys, let me know what you thought about this video. How do we feel? Were we expecting Anna to be gone so quickly? I surely wasn't, but it really did tickle me. Until next time.